Well, I have all these marked. I need to rough cut them, and then I'll be able to take them to the router and finish them up. So I have the bandsaw set up on the Shopsmith, and this will be the last time that I use this bandsaw. There's nothing wrong with it. It actually works fine for what I use it for, but my needs have grown. This only has a 6-inch clearance, and I need more height than that on rip cuts that I'm doing, so I'll be replacing it with another one, but that's another video. For now, I'm going to set this up and let you watch as I cut a few of these. Welcome back. This is the third video in this series for making pizza peels. It's a really simple project, one that I thought a lot of people could do at home, even if they didn't have all of the tools that I have. But I made these for a specific reason, and I'll be revealing that later on in this video. So if you stay tuned, you can perhaps have one of these peels as your own. I have the router table set up here. It is equipped with a 1/2-inch diameter edge trim bit that has a bearing on the top that's exactly the same diameter as the body of the bit. It's a 3-wing flush trim bit, and the pattern will ride on the bearing here, and the part will be below it here. So I have attached the pattern with double-sided tape to the part, and as you can see, all the way around the edge of it there is material sticking out to be trimmed off. So I'm going to run this first part through, and let's see how well this works. The pattern is attached to the part with double-sided tape. I don't know how much tape to use. I may not have used enough, so it may mess this one up, but that's why I made a few extras. So I'll make a pass, and let's see how this goes. Well, chipped out a piece right here, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and cut that off smooth, glue another piece in here, fill that back in. But learned a little bit. If it's over about an 1/8 inch thick, this bit right here doesn't have deep enough gullet to chew it up, and when you're drilling across the grain, it'll just split apart. So I've got to be a little more careful when I round them corners and just take off like a 32nd or a 16th or something like that at a time on the weaker parts. But other than that, it followed that pattern really well. That worked a lot better. A lot better. Well, I want to sand the taper on the end of those peels. So what I've set up here is I have a board here cut off at 45 degrees with a ledge along the bottom here. And I have the table tilted. I think it's, let's see, where's it at? Let's see, I guess it ended up at 40 degrees. So I'll be taking a slice off that's at 5 degrees from the edge. I'm going to go into it about 1/8 of an inch deep on each side. So what I'll do is I'll place the peel in here, lean it back against the edge of the fence here, which is aligned with the 45 degree surface here, and slide it along the disc on both the inside and the outside, and that should thin it down at the outside. I really want to have over an 1/8 inch, because if I get the wood any thinner than that, there's a greater chance of splitting. So I'm going to try one. Let's see how it comes out. thicker than I want, I may have to make another pass on it. But I can only do so much on one pass. Okay. So there's the gaps where I tapered those ends. They seem to be fairly even. That's rough. They'll have to be sanded down. I don't know if you can see, but my marks are up in here, right along this line here somewhere. There's the end of it there, as you can see. Tapered evenly on both sides. Here's a little darker wood here. You can probably see it better on this. You can see the line along there a little better. So these will now need to have a sanding pass on them. Router around the outside edge here, soften this. You got to drill a hole to put a leather hanger in them. Now I think they'll be ready to put the finish on. But guess I need to get started. Sanding, hand sanding, always my favorite. Well, I apologize for the noise this morning. We've had a drought for about 3 weeks, and the ground is just totally powder, but this morning we're getting a little dab of rain. So what I want to do now is I've got these so that I've routed around the edge here and kind of broken the edge, and now I need to go ahead and hand work this down to a little more of a point right up here on the top edge. So I've got 120 grit sandpaper in the sander, and I'm going to work by hand. I'm going to go down on this side here, and then I'll come back and go down on this side here. I don't want it to come to an exact point because then it'll be too thin and the wood will split. But I'm going to hand work that. So I'll tell you what, I'll talk about something else I've had on my mind while and I'll dub that in, and you won't have to listen to the rain. In the year 2020, late in the year, I had a crash of my hard drive on my tower computer. And although I had backed up a lot of the information that was on there onto DVDs and thumb drives, there was a lot of information that I lost. And it got me to thinking, you know, DVDs at that time were just beginning to go totally out of circulation. The thumb drives didn't have a lot of capacity on them, and it was expensive to store stuff on the cloud. And I got to looking back, you know, through my early experience with 8-track tapes and then cassette tapes and then DVDs and CDs and CD rewrites and all of the different types of electronic storage media. And you know, it seems to me like about give or take every 10 years or so, it changes to where you have access to it and then you don't. So I decided I need to come up with a more permanent way of retaining information. Weighing heavily on me also was that, you know, I have a few photos of my father and mother, and even fewer photos of my grandfather and grandmother. And although I've scanned them in and I've stored them, once they're gone, they're gone. So I needed to have a way of keeping that information readily available. One of the things that occurred to me is that how about if I store them on YouTube? That way, they're easy to share. My family can get access to them, and when I'm long gone, they will have access to the channel. They can delete it, change it, use it, whatever they want to do with it. But at least the information would be out there. I figured that YouTube was a pretty good alternative for keeping that information around. So I decided to make a YouTube channel. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the finished sanding. I'm going to take it down 120, and then I'll take the 220 for finishing, and then I'll use that 220 to also clean up this edge. The profile that I want on here is a chamfer, so I really don't want to hit that with 120. It'll just make it disappear. But I think if I'm really careful with the 220, I can bring it out and still clean up all of the chatter and splinters and a little dab of burn that I've got on it. Well, need to do a test. I think it's around 450 degrees Fahrenheit that the branding iron is about right. It's what it was on walnut. I don't know about rubber wood. Let's see where we're at now with temperature. Shot up to 455.9. That's pretty close to 450. I'm going to go ahead and we'll give it a quick test. So I got a piece of rubber wood here. Always moisten the surface so that it burns more where it's making contact than when it's not. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004. All right, that's not too bad. I can give it just a little bit more time and I think it'll be just a little bit plainer, but I think I'm ready to start. So I got a little fixture set up here. Let's see. Let me remove you. So I got a little fixture set up here. Same one that I used to drill. Put it in place. Get this end square down here, which aligns it this way. And then a spacer to move it up the handle. And then I'm going to moisten this put the spacer in, and then burn it. So I'll figure out a place to put you so you can peek in while I do it. My first edited video that I posted was in February 6th of 2021. Since that time, I've posted 150 videos. My top video has only 6,480 views, but totally 59,403 times people have taken their time to look at my videos. And doing so, they've spent over 6,500 hours watching the stuff that I've put out there. To me, that's very, very humbling. I never thought that I would go out and try to build a huge YouTube channel, and I still don't think that. But what I did want to do is I wanted to share information that I have on topics that are interested to me, to people who might also have similar interests. And as some of you know who've been with me for a while, I do like to tell stories. So that's why I decided late last year that if I ever get 999 subscribers, I'm going to give back to some of those and let them know that I really appreciate it. Well, got them all branded. Some are better than others, but I think they're all legible. Next, I guess I'm ready to oil them. Well, I want to put a little oil on these. So I'll take a tack cloth and wipe them off. It'll get all the sawdust off. It wouldn't do to go ahead and oil these and take all that sawdust and work it down into the grain. It'll look messy and muddy the figure, but the other thing is it'll just be stuff that'll come out as they cut on the board. So you want to clean off all of the dust before you start. And I'm using a cutting board oil that's food grade mineral oil, and it has vitamin E in it. Why you need vitamin E, I haven't the least of a clue, but it's what we got. I've used orange oil and some others, and I'll use up the last of this one. I put it on pretty generous. I want as much of this to soak in as I can get. I'll put 2 coats on it, one now and one in a couple days. But just put it on there pretty heavy. It'll puddle, and try to get those edges. You really want to make sure you get the end grain really good, because that's what'll absorb moisture, food particles, whatever, the most. So you put it on, it puddles up pretty good, and then I can't get it to stay on there, darn it. And then go back across and wipe the puddles off. And then while I'm allowing that to soak in, I'll turn it over and do that other side. Get all of it in that I can get. like I said, I put it on pretty generous. This is the third one I've done now, and I've used 1/4 of a bottle so far. I'm thinking I'm going to have to go get another bottle before I finish all of them, because like I said, I'm going to put two coats of this on. It won't soak up much next time, but I'm always amazed at how much of this the wood will soak in given time. You're better off to do this in fairly warm temperatures. It's about 84 here in the shop, and that's not a bad temperature. If I do this in the wintertime, sometimes I'll set them over there next to the heating stove, the wood stove, and warm them up to get them to take a little more. But yeah, I got gracious plenty there, so let me turn this over and see how much the other side absorbed. See, almost all that's been absorbed in, except what dripped over from the top. So I'll take this and put another coating on, and let that get absorbed. You don't really want to scrimp on it. First time, get it deep as you can. Let's turn that over and see how much of that's been absorbed on the other side. Well, it's still puddled up pretty big. So let me see if I can wipe that. I may have to go get another rag just as a wipe-off rag. Let me go do that. I'm gonna wipe it like this, and then I'll hang it over there and let it dry for a couple days before I put that last coat on. This one's ready for a second one now. You don't have to go with the grain when you oil them. It's not like putting a finish on, you know, a hard finish. Okay, so I'm going to hang that one up, and then we'll do some more. So I have 2 coats on these, and it seems to have soaked in pretty good. So the last thing I want to do is to go ahead and put a piece of rawhide through here, shoestring, so that you can hang them. And played around with it a little bit, and I've come up with a 16-inch long piece that I'm going to tie in there. And no big secret in how you do it. One thing I do is I'm going to soak this in water and then pull it tight using 2 pairs of pliers like this and pull it on down tight so that it cinches and doesn't want to come loose. I wanted to reiterate, I am humbled by the number of people there are that have stopped by to look at the videos that I've offered. And I want to tell you that I've met a lot of fine people through YouTube. Some I've met in person, others I only know through visiting different channels or having them visit mine. For those of you who made it to the end, I appreciate that. And the way this giveaway is going to work is that for subscribers of this channel who have watched this video, liked it, and commented on it, I'm going to select 5 and send them one of these pizza peels. Now, I apologize to those of you who don't have U.S. mailing addresses, but that's the way I'm going to send them, only if you have a U.S. mailing address. The experience overall has been very, very gratifying for me. So, with that said, I do truly end every video by saying, I hope you have nothing less than a wonderful day. And that's sincere, because I think every one of you deserves to have that at the least.